Captain Kirk from the Starship Enterprise. Do you have a patriotic song for us?
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, almost bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. So I believe we actually have some guests today, and I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made last week. A number of you were upset that I didn't introduce Dr. Stefan, who is an honorary member of our club and hasn't been here for a long time. So I apologize for that. And I also apologize for the fact that in today's wheel, where we have memorial pictures of a lot of members, some of those people are not dead, including Dr. Stefan, who's in a picture with Jim Jones. Jim Jones, of course, has passed away. There are sympathy cards and get well cards being circulated for our members who are two of them in the hospital and one who lost his mother recently. And so if you would keep those moving. Rosalie, if you would... If you would sign those cards and keep them moving so that everybody has a chance to sign those. Thank you very much. Jim Cole, did you have an announcement about Santa Claus in July?
Hi there.
I'm going to stand over here away from everybody. Summer Santa Claus, we're still working on it. The pandemic has really disrupted the supply lines for the various retail outlets. JCPenney is not going to be able to support us for it this year. We do hope to work with them on a going forward basis. But we have reached out to Kohl's, and they are actively looking for clothes so that we can put together the uniforms for the kids. We don't have a positive or a statement that they can fulfill it at this point in time. They are having trouble with their supply line too. So we're working as hard as we can. We really hope to get the uniforms together and work with Project 150 to make our donation. So I just wanted to give you an update of where we are. And if anybody has any contacts with retail outlets, please reach out to me. I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. And Mr. President, coming in on the live feed, we are being viewed all the way from Mumbai, India.
Wow.
World famous?
Rotary does, in fact, connect the world. Next, we have some Paul Harris Awards. Unfortunately, John Ingamy was not able to be here with us today, but he's receiving his Paul Harris Plus 8.
Wow.
And Bill Houghton is here. So, Bill, if you would come on up for your Paul Harris Plus 2. And Kim, if you'd like to make that presentation.
So for those of you who are new members of our club, Paul Harris is a recognition that Rotary Foundation bestows upon members of the Rotary Club who make a contribution of $1,000 or more towards Polio Plus, towards the annual fund, and any other initiatives that are run through the Rotary International Foundation. So when you make your first $1,000 contribution, that's Paul Harris. And then any additional amount of $1,000 increments, add your +1 or +2, and so on and so forth. So today we have an honor of recognizing Bill Houghton for his Paul Harris +2. So there you go.
Congratulations. Mr. President, are we still doing the matching where we are being matched on our Paul Harris?
We haven't
that
started
done?
it up again, but I'm sure
Gotcha.
we will be
Okay,
starting
thank
it
you.
up fairly soon.
Okay, thank you.
Unless you want to contribute $1,000 today, in which case we will start it up right now.
You're on.
Next, is there anyone from the 25 Club that has any update on the Alpine Picnic? Other than that it's tentatively set for September the 12th? Absolutely. Sure.
Oh, thank you. So we met by Zoom last night and talked about the Alpine Picnic. We're very excited about it, obviously. I will be, in the very near future, sending out some more information and asking for folks to start signing up for the picnic. Families are invited. Apparently, and I haven't been to one in the past, but apparently it's an amazing opportunity to bring families. There are opportunities not only to see this incredible house that we're going to get to spend some time at, but in addition to that, people can either go on a guided tour of some of the trails, or you can do self-tours as well. So in addition to that, the plan right now is to do potluck. So obviously we'll have some categories and we'll let you choose what type of dish you'd like to bring as well. So again, more information to come. This event is for fun. It's all about coming together, about community, about spending time together and just enjoying, again, this beautiful home in this beautiful area. And hopefully it's a little bit cooler, right, that time of year. So, again, more information to come. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, just let me know. More pictures?
Thank you, Carrie.
Greetings from Des Moines, Iowa.
And you're only reading the positive comments, right?
Yeah, I had to cut through a lot of the clutter.
The next announcement concerns the Rotary Club roster. We're going to try to get it out a little bit quicker this year. And so I think you've already received one update email from Sean asking you if you'd like to replace your high school graduation picture in the roster with something a little more current, or if there's anything about your write-up that we need to update or improve on. Yes, Tony? To Sean.
Okay.
Sean is collect.
Yeah, I'll send out an email
Thank you. And again, I'd like to thank the 25 club members who participated in today's meeting. The setup was Val and Barbara, the invocation from Carrie, Mike for being the sergeant in arms, and video monitor and Facebook stream monitor. Let's see. And when the meeting's over, Carrie and Bert for tearing it down, and Tina for volunteering to be the photographer today. Thank you all. Also a reminder to RSVP for meetings as early as you possibly can to make our weekly task with Lowry's just a little bit easier. Next, I'm happy to say that we are going to do an online club survey. We're going to cover some of the same questions as last year's survey, plus a few new questions that our district governor has asked us to survey the membership on. And to try to get a higher than average participation rate, since most surveys like that get a pretty poor participation, and poor Kirk wound up having to attack people as they entered the meeting last year to try to get them to respond to the survey with the computer he had set up. To try to do better this year, we are going to have a raffle with a major award. And it's not a leg lamp like in the movie A Christmas Story. And what we'll do is we'll put the names of everyone who actually responds to the survey, without regard to whether you said nice things or bad things. You'll get in, and we'll pick that name, one name out of that hat, and that person will receive an award. So look for that to come on your email in the near future, and please participate.
We can be bought.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next, we have the induction of a new member today. And so I would ask the membership committee to come up and induct our newest member. And Albert, if you would come up also.
Albert, you're welcome to bring Steve if you'd like. Huh? Oh, okay. Here's good. So, hello everyone. We have a new member to induct, Alberto Angula. And I interviewed Alberto. It was a very interesting interview. He was very enthusiastic in learning more about Rotary. So we spent probably about an hour having a conversation, maybe, during COVID when I was at home. So it was a fun conversation amongst a bunch of other hectic things going on. So Alberto is with the Clark County Library District. He is an ESL instructor and translator. He's got 11 years of experience doing that. He is also nominated recently, I believe, through the Coalition on Adult Basic Education as Teacher of the Year Award runner-up. So, nice attributes that he has to bring to our club. And so one of the stories that he shared with me in our interview, which made him, I think, as a perfect fit for the Rotary Club, was we were talking about social events. And I mentioned that we have a cigar social. And he said, "Oh, that's really cool, because when I was a young boy, I went to Rotary with my father in northern Mexico, and one of the experiences that he got to share with his father at Rotary was attending the cigar socials." and also noted that he didn't smoke cigars, but he enjoyed being around the group of men, because at that time women were not involved. They were separated, yes. So I thought, well, that's a perfect fit, because we have an event that I'm sure you'll enjoy attending on a regular basis with all the other guys in our club that smoke cigars. So, and women do attend and have a little enjoyment as well. I don't know much about the cigars piece of it, but we come and we enjoy everyone else's cigar smoking activities. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you, and we're very happy to have you in our club, and welcome aboard.
Welcome to, if I may coin a Jacqueline Thornhill phrase, the greatest Rotary chapter in the world.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm just gonna lower this
Club.
a little bit. Should I say something? Okay, perfect. Good. I wrote what I wanted to say because I usually take pride of being on top of the moment, but this moment is pretty overwhelming. So basically, what I wanted to say was that this moment is important to me because not only I want to, I'm looking forward to serving the community with you guys, but I also feel like I'm honoring the memory of my late father. As Rosalie told you, when I was young, I got to come with him to the cigars night. He was a Rotarian, my father. He was a very simple man with a very simple life, but when he came to these events, he would dress up formally and just look forward to enjoy the evening. So the spirit and the fellowship it made me want to be an adult so badly. And so right now I feel like I'm not only helping the community and being part of this amazing club, but also honoring his memory. So that's why it's important to me. On a funny note, I kept mispronouncing because English is my second language. So I keep mispronouncing this event and telling my friends that I was going to be ignited rather than inducted. So, well, thank you for inducting me. And this is after 11 years working as an ESL teacher for the library. So I hope nobody hears words for the library district. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to be part of this amazing club, and thank you for being so welcoming.
What you all are noticing is this is the first live induction under Richard's reign for Rotary, and we're changing it up. We have our sponsors come up for each member, new member. We have our members speaking. We have family members. We have Steve. Steve is Alberto's husband. And so we are having family joining us. We're making this special. And now for a moment, on behalf of the Las Vegas Rotary Club, it is my privilege to induct our new member today, Alberto Angulo. Alberto, you are beginning a great adventure in leadership, in friendship, in service to your community and your fellow men and women, adding to your work already as a community servant and activist, working with local legal organizations, interpreting and translating, volunteering as a tutor, and advocacy for adult education and literacy. You have been invited into membership, and the Rotary Club of Las Vegas has accepted you as a person of good character, high ethical standards, and a person who has the heart of service. You have been invited to join Rotary, but it will be through your own actions that you become a Rotarian. You will be provided many opportunities through your Rotary Club and the district to enhance and expand your professional and personal skills, and these opportunities can and will provide great value to you. You will also be provided with many opportunities to provide service to others through club service, vocational service, community and international service. We welcome your strong arm and your strong heart for service in joining the club to engage in Rotary International's current theme, Rotary Opens Opportunities. When we join Rotary, we become part of something much bigger than ourselves. You are given a Rotary pin by your sponsor and by which your fellow Rotarians and the community at large will recognize you as a Rotarian. And we ask that you wear that pin proudly. With that, it is our pleasure and honor, Alberto, to declare you inducted into the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, the greatest Rotary Club in the world. We need our president, the tallest person in the group.
Yeah. I might beat him with my heel.
I have heels on too.
Me too.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. In your pen, in your book.
Nice to see we made a clean sweep, all carnivores here.
And let's go right to the raffle drawing. So for the chance to pull the joker, it would be ticket 9882728. Yeah. Whoops. Good thing I don't work.
One over there at that table, the girl in the purple dress hasn't gotten hers yet.
So there's a. Oops. Yeah, $10. Oops. Gonna hold this up on your phone.
Yeah, hold it up so it's posterity. Oh, well, it's gotta be on.
Thank you. And for the chance to win two $25 gift certificates to Lowry's The Prime Rib, the lucky ticket number is 988-2812. 2812.
Did you get it? Is that you? 2812.
All right, we have a winner.
Oh, never mind.
And before we take a break for fellowship, we do have one fine. It's a carryover from last week when we were busy fining people for grandchildren. Kirk Alexander was willing to fall on his sword and volunteer that he had a new grandchild also. And I failed to fine him, so I didn't want that to go too long. Kirk, we'll fine you today. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about your new grandchild?
Doesn't feel too bad falling on a sword for this. There were a lot of sharing of, it was a birthday table. There was, I think Paul had mentioned something about 25 grandchildren. There were all kinds of things going on. And that morning, at about 3 hours before our meeting, we had number 4 grandchild. So Philip Graham joined our world at on this, what was it, the 9th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I wanted to say something, but I didn't get into Richard soon enough, so I walked up to him. And as the meeting went on, we went a little late. So anyway, Philip Graham is here with us.
Well, thank you very much
Congrats,
for
brother.
your $400 contribution to the Rotary Foundation. And on that note, let's have some lunch prior to the speaker. You know, I suppose I should explain why I have so much trouble enthusiastically describing this as the best Rotary Club in the world, as Jim did and Jackie did and other presidents before me. And unfortunately, if you live long enough, you experience too many things. And so when our law firm decided that we would run advertising back when the State Bar of Nevada finally decided that law firms could advertise, we spent a lot of money producing some really wonderful written materials that talked about we were the greatest law firm and the oldest law firm and the biggest law firm and the best law firm. And we were really proud of those marketing materials. Up until the time the State Bar came to visit us to tell us that we were violating the State Bar's rules by using words like greatest or best unless we had hired an outside surveying company or measurement company to actually find a way to back up the fact that we were the greatest or the best. And so ever since then, I've been probably overly reluctant to use those adjectives because it cost us a ton of money to redo all those marketing materials. But that doesn't in any way take away from the fact that we are, in fact, the greatest Rotary Club in the world. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Katie Crockett forward to introduce our guest speaker.
Our speaker this afternoon is Dr. Daniel Reichman. He is a researcher at Duke University in the field of artificial intelligence. He is the CEO of a company called Argus in Las Vegas, and he's going to talk today about some of the applications of artificial intelligence. So please help me welcome him.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll be holding two things. Good afternoon. Thank you for the club for having me, and to Mr. Thomas for inviting me. So, I'm sure you've heard the words artificial intelligence very many times. AI makes the headlines quite often, and it's usually saying, AI did this revolutionary thing, this revolutionary thing. What is it actually? So AI is used to automate. It's used to automate customizing content. It's used to personalize content. You know Facebook, you know ads, you know recommendations. All of those things is AI at work. AI is used in surveillance applications to review hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of hours of video footage to find an intruder. It's used in cybersecurity, for example, unlocking your phone with your face. It's been used in banking and investing to identify smarter investment opportunities that might go unnoticed by a person. It's used in real estate to identify where to purchase property next. It's used in government. It's been used pretty much everywhere at this point. And this is just the beginning. The tools, they're still very much in development rapidly to be able to imbue the computer with a sense of understanding and knowledge to automate tasks. So that's why the topic of my talk today is how can I benefit from artificial intelligence too? So computers and AI have enabled automation in an unprecedented fashion. And mail is a great example. I mean, it used to be you write a letter and then really the hard work begins. You've got to find an envelope, stamp, write it, give it to the mailman. It goes through this complex routing process. Think of the Pony Express days as an example. Instead, today you can just, write your message in your favorite instant message client, and the message gets to your intended person at the click of a button. So much easier. AI automation goes one step further. In my previous example, that you wouldn't even need to write the message. Imagine that the computer got the message you received and says, okay, and a strategic, thoughtful response, maybe even more eloquent than what we could do. And that's really the type of stuff that AI sets out to automate. This thoughtful, deep, contemplative, long-term thinking that we as people do. Of course, today AI is not there. It's still very much a field in its infancy, though very impressive things have already been accomplished. So what I will address is how you can identify how to use AI as a tool and how to think about getting started with it. So first, I'll provide context for where AI fits in the computing field and how you can identify whether AI makes sense for something you want to do and how to get started with it. So before I can address what AI automation does, we have to have a better description of tasks. So here I have 3 examples: a baking recipe, driving directions, and filling out of forms. What's common here? What's common is there's an agreed upon plan of execution, a list of instructions to get to your goal. So you want to make a certain type of chocolate chip cookie, you get a recipe, you do it 100 times, you get 100 times the same cookies. Same thing with driving directions. So like this, if you have a list of tasks, this is what a list of instructions, that's what the computer does today. It's like with the mail. It knows how to route through servers, get it to your inbox. It knows how to do that, it does it. And you get your email each time, usually. So, so why is automation useful? So automation is useful because you want to have some way to generate instructions. Right now, the way you generate instructions, how it's been done for basically all of human existence, or all of existence, is someone had to think about, I need a tool, so I'm going to make it. This tool has to fit these criteria, and then they figure it out. And this is kind of what an expert does, right? The problem with an expert is, well, they're very expensive to train. It takes a long time, let's say, to make a flight simulator, or like a pilot, a fighter pilot, or a PhD, or a surgeon, or whichever expert. Another problem is, well, a lot of people say they're experts. How do you know who is an expert? And then the third one is, you found the best expert, they can get distracted, they can have a bad day, and make a mistake that one time you don't want them to make that mistake. So this is where automation comes in, because it brings in transparency, it brings in consistency, and auditability. So once you have that set of instructions, which might be difficult to obtain, but once you have them, you can analyze the instructions. You can know why they chose to do this over that. All these qualities are very much appreciated and difficult to achieve when a person does something. So AI is the piece that generates instructions. AI is that brain, that expert, if you will. Imagine you had to give driving directions to someone. As a person, I mean, okay, you guys know Las Vegas, you're from here, if I asked you to give me directions somewhere in St. Louis, it would be a job. Probably you wouldn't be able to take into consideration many of the important factors, congestion, weather, things like that. It gets pretty laborious, and probably most importantly, if I asked any of you to write down, like really think carefully about the process you use in order to make directions, good luck. Like, how do you prioritize this kind of delay versus that kind of delay? Like, I'd be impressed if someone could really write out the instructions they use. AI does this is the automation that AI does. It knows how to take all these factors into consideration and can analyze tremendous amount of data in order to get these rules. What it will do is it can learn to differentiate between delays due to weather, due to congestion, due to traffic, accidents, all these different kinds of things. And most interestingly, once it has that set of rules, you can even modify it to say something like, I want to get there fastest. I want to have the fewest number of red lights on my route. You can query it to give you instructions customized to your goal. And driving directions is a pretty simple example, all things told. There are many, many, many tasks where writing out instructions would be nearly impossible. I mean, ask any kind of medical imagery analyzer how they do it. Years of training, intuition, things like that. Not knocking it. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I mean, they help cure cancer and things like that. But it's just very hard to replicate. Reviewing surveillance video, you can imagine the security cameras at an airport, thousands. Hundreds of thousands of hours of video. If you can do it a little faster, and and you can ask it, like, tell me about all the people who look like this or like that, that could be very helpful. finding buried explosives. That's something that I worked on my PhD, or unlocking your phone with your face again. So automation can and has reduced costs significantly in accomplishing very many tasks. So what did we learn so far? Computers can execute a long list of tasks, which is the essence of automation, and automating tasks has very many benefits. AI is the way that is proposed today as a mechanism to generate instructions. It's kind of complicated, but again, you want driving directions, you need a way to get driving directions. AI is that thing that gets you the driving directions for all sorts of situations. So now you must be wondering how realistic it is to use AI in the real world. So to answer this question first, I'll go through some examples and address the question of things that can be automated with AI today. So where has sorry, I was told to change a little bit the slides last minute. So artificial intelligence today, when you hear about it in the news, you hear the words deep learning. This is the culmination of like 70 years of research in AI and all the surrounding fields of computation, hardware, computers in general, things like that. It's been very successful. It's been really successful in any scenario where, where it would be really difficult to find something about your problem that is distinguishing. So, for example, spam. How do you distinguish spam from real emails? A friend told me once, just do a filter that says, find any email that says unsubscribe me. That could work. But there are very many things where that's not the case. And so, and it would be really hard for you to look at hundreds of thousands of emails and say, these are the characteristics or the features that I want to identify as spammy emails or non-spammy emails. Great, let the computer do it. So what it will do is go through tons and tons of examples and find those characteristics that say spam, not spam. Same thing with speech to text. I have an accent, lots of people speak English differently. It's not easy to identify what exactly everyone's saying. So this is where the computer comes in and it finds, oh, Daniel raises his voice a little bit in certain words and someone else doesn't. Okay, not a problem, it's still the same. Object recognition in video. It's very good at identifying and recognizing specific tasks. Recommendation engines, you're all very familiar with, I'm sure, like Amazon and Netflix. It's able to take the fact that people in a certain age range or demographic like this kind of show, therefore you probably also will like this kind of show, and doing these kinds of analyses. Now, I have to go on this digression. It's a bit of a digression, but it's just, I find it interesting. So, is the computer actually intelligent? Let me give you an example for why I wouldn't say that that the computer is actually intelligent. Ultimately, I mean, we give the dilemma is like this: we as people give it the instructions, the algorithm to make instructions, right? But I mean, the counter argument to that is we as people go to school for 12 to 20 plus years. So are we intelligent, right? So where's that difference? So let's take an alien as an example. Never swam before, never seen water. I teach it how to swim. I tell it, go through, this is how you swim, this is how you do the freestyle stroke. It does this for the next 10 years, gets around great. And then one day it's swimming along and hits its head on an iceberg. It forgets step 5. Do I have any reason whatsoever to believe that it will be able to figure out step 5 again? No, absolutely not. Why? Because to it, these were just 5 instructions. I gave it 5 instructions, not more, not less. I didn't teach it any common sense. I didn't teach it reasoning, scientific method. And the reason why I picked an alien is just to highlight the idea that it would be a sentient being, but one that doesn't necessarily operate in the same way that we do, doesn't automatically employ thought or reasoning in the way that we conventionally think of it. And so there's no reason to think that it will say, oh, but lifting the head actually slowed me down. so I'm not going to do it, even though it's going to cause it to drown in the next minute. So that's kind of where AI is today. It takes the instructions. It's very good at writing these instructions to identify certain things that you gave it examples for, but that's kind of where it ends. So now we've addressed the question of what AI automation is, some of how it's done, and the fact that AI automation is a way to get instructions for tasks where providing exact instructions would be nearly impossible. So now we can start talking about how to be successful with AI. How can you get started with it? So probably a question that's burning in your minds is, okay, which kinds of tasks are best suited for artificial intelligence? Again, tasks. Tasks is the goal here, and categorizing them or putting them on a spectrum of difficulty is something that's been researched, and one very helpful breakdown I find is one that breaks down tasks according to how repetitive they are, how often you do the same thing, and then how much thought is involved in each of these tasks. So let's take babysitting as an example. You get a babysitter, it's a different story each time. Right? You walk in, different situation, it's hard to repeat what's going to happen. Take on the opposite extreme, cashing checks. Cashing checks, you're writing standard things on a standard form. Today most of them are printed, so there's no problem of handwriting and things like that. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that most banks today have mobile check deposits, but I haven't seen a lot of robo-babysitters marketed. So, like that, we can think about different tasks or different professions where there's a range of tasks. So let's take accounting, for example. Accounting, there's plenty of things that are very simple, and there are plenty of things that are extremely complicated. So let's think. If I need to do a very complex transaction, probably no way to automate it. I need an expert. But most people don't need very many complicated things. People have one employer, maybe a retirement account. You don't need a super genius to figure out which form to use. So guess what? Something like tax exists, which lets you leverage the fact that it's simple, and they make great money off of the fact that, well, it's a simple task, and everybody's happy. Okay, this isn't still very much AI, but let's keep talking about them for a second. So, again, most people, pretty simple. They put in the information, they get out the stuff they need. Intuit, the company that offered this, get paid. Is that it? I don't think so. There's a lot more than meets the eye here. So, what's going on here? Maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when the tools of AI will be able to catch up to some of the complexity. It's very simple. They have data, and they have the result. They have labels. What did the CPA do? How did the CPA become so smart? How did he figure out, or she figure out how to do this right? Well, they looked at examples. They looked at case studies. Guess what Intuit has? Lots and lots of examples. So by the time that AI is catching up, and every day there's new features, new functionality, new algorithms being developed, it's not far off to think that some of the complexity will be able to be handled very soon, or already possible. Someone's done it. But guess what? I don't have this data. I can't work on this. I know how to do AI, but I don't have this data. I can't do anything. And same with anybody else. Intuit will be able to. They'll be able to hire someone who can do this and make even more money off the fact that they've been collecting all this data. You're very familiar with this play. I mean, this is kind of what all the big players are doing. Google is an example. They're like a utility. I mean, any functionality you need on the computer, they've got it, and it's free. Well, it's free. You pay them in data, and they use it they monetize it, and they make money off the ads. Same thing with Facebook. I mean, and this kind of idea of of providing a service. Where's my mouse? There it is. The idea of providing a service just in order to collect data is one that's very interesting, and something I think all of you could think about considerably, because this is something that I know AI, right? This is what I've been doing for a long time. But I can't do anything if I don't have any data. And coming up with a service where people give you data is a way for anybody to get started. Anybody could start a service, and the internet makes it very easy and democratic to get started on anything. So if you think about something where it might be useful to analyze that data to do something later, and you provide that service today, there's plenty of examples, probably the most notorious one where such a company makes money. Take WhatsApp, for example. Simple instant messaging company, nothing really, I don't know. But they had a tremendous number of users. Facebook bought it for $21.8 billion. Again, wasn't really making money, but it could have choked Facebook's source of information, which is its business. It makes money off of all the ads and the personalized recommendations it can make. So this is something very serious that should be considered by, I think, anybody. The other thing that I have to talk about is, no talk about AI is complete without yet another buzzword, which is big data. This is another place where AI shines. Google and Facebook have tremendous amounts of data, and the question is, what more can you do with it? No one's going to sit there. I think on YouTube each day there's like 80 years of video content posted. Like, it's a tremendous amount. No one's going to sit through it. But in those videos, in that data, there is knowledge. There are patterns. There are associations you can make, better recommendations you can make, understanding you can have of the world from that data. And so, if you are a company, or you have a company where you have been collecting information about people, and you just have this sitting somewhere on hard drives, you have terabytes of data, more. You don't know what could be lying in there, but very many recent examples show that there's plenty that could be hidden in there that could be useful to you commercially. So identifying a service you can provide today that brings you data can be the big payoff in the longer run, as it has been for very major and very new companies. Another place where AI fits really well is automating repetitive and tedious tasks. This is actually what we're doing at my company, at Argus. So what we're working on is automating, making sure that your camera view is clear and on target. So each year, 50% of cameras will have some kind of view problem. Will be pointed in the wrong direction, someone put something in front of it, tamper, what have you. A lot of places have cameras, everyone has cameras, and there's 2 in this room. How do we know that these cameras are actually functioning? Well, they have a reason why they put them up here. They care about the images probably. It costs them thousands of dollars or more to put something up like this. And imagine an airport that has thousands of them. They have millions doing this. They want to know that they have the images. Great. You go check 1,000 cameras. And very many locations have dedicated personnel to checking their cameras to make sure that the view is good. All right. How expensive is that? Sounds expensive, and it is expensive. If let's say it takes about 20 seconds to inspect a camera, and this number includes break times and audits and things like that, it's more for larger systems. It's easily one person or many people's job a week, and costs very many thousands of dollars a day. So there's a year. So there's a lot of incentive to get rid of the person doing this, so that they can actually just look at the cameras and do something with the information rather than tap through, check, tap through, and check. And this process and this algorithm that we developed this for Duke University. Actually, this was toward the end of my PhD. We developed this for them. They have over 2,000 cameras, and they were starting to grow concerned that they notice problems. They don't know, they can never depend on their cameras, and they just said, all right, can you guys make something for us? So that's what we did, and their time of inspection, they would check their cameras every single day, their 2,000 cameras, so it would take about an entire day to go through it, and now it takes them about 5 minutes on average. So a bit of an improvement. And that's okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the AI that we do. The way that we do this is actually not very. It shouldn't surprise you when I tell you how we do it. Take this camera. What does it need to see? This room. So on the first day that we install our software, we take a reference image of this room. We just take a picture of this room. It's okay that the tables and chairs are one way and tomorrow they're a different way. That's where the AI comes in. And tomorrow we check again and we make sure, did someone put a banner in front of the camera or is it just below and not blocking the view? Did a little bug crawl in there and scratch the lens or something like that? If it's outdoors, did sand scratch the lens? That's exactly what the AI does. Every day, at the same time of day, it will wake up and with great alacrity look at today's image, compare it to its reference image, and tell you there is a problem or there's not a problem. It figured out, based on many examples and of looking at cameras and camera problems, saying these are rules that show blur. These are my rules for identifying that the camera tilted or got blocked. And in this way, I don't have to worry about it. I know, if you have hundreds of thousands of cameras can be connected to the service, millions of cameras can be connected to the service. To us, it doesn't matter. It's always the same process. It's just another server or another 2 servers that need to run it. But it's the same task. Every time, it's the same task. So that's what we're doing at our company. And again, tying it all together, we found a repetitive task that's probably better done by a computer than a person and would allow a person now to actually use the equipment rather than be bogged down by a repetitive, somewhat menial task of checking, whether a camera is working or not. So that's another place where AI really does a good job. So let's say this talk inspired you and you want to do something with AI. What can you do? So, just like General Electric has much more than electricians, people inside of AI very, very much need people outside of AI. This is because, we need data, as I said. We need data, and we need ideas for where it would be useful. I've been doing AI for for a decade now. I know how to apply. I've done it in different contexts. I worked I took a couple of actuarial exams. I worked in an insurance company, helping them develop an algorithm to check their cash reserves faster because computing it took too long. For my PhD, I worked with the U.S. military on detecting buried threats like landmines, UXOs, things like that. In radar imagery. Now I work on security images. I worked for a foundation. I think they call themselves the best documented foundation. I don't want to stand by that claim, but they have like hundreds of thousands of documents that they kept all records of everything they did. And then someone wanted to write a book about it. So actually they had asked me if I want to help them read it. I said absolutely not. But maybe I can get the computer to help summarize the documents, and they very much like that. And they actually they published already 2 books on all the stuff that they found in those papers. So there's plenty of places where you can use it, but you see, I got these ideas from working somewhere else that had a problem. Some places that had data, some places that had a need, some repetitive thing. And this is something that any of you can, I'm sure there's plenty of things you can think about that where you have access to data that others may not, and what can be done with it. The next thing is whether you're familiar with an expensive, repetitive task, just like what I was talking about with Argus. Then finally, are you an expert in identifying and predicting conditions? Now, that might sound scary. It's really not. There's no requirement of you to have the mathematical tools to write these algorithms and things like that. That's not. The problem is that someone like me doesn't know a problem as well as you would. You've been working somewhere for as many years as you have. You have some intuition, some understanding. You might even have access to some data. This is where collaboration this is where the collaboration can and could happen. So, the work of encoding your intuition, your lived experience of solving a problem and working through it is what my expertise is to translate into an algorithm and into a predictive reality. So I put my contact information here. Please take it as an invitation to talk to me. I'm currently living in Las Vegas, and my company's office is in downtown in the Innovation Center. I actually, good, maybe bad timing, I don't know, but I moved here right before the pandemic. And the reason why I decided to move to Las Vegas is because I think it's a wonderful place here. I think it's a wonderful place for many reasons, especially for AI. There's tons of, people, which is opportunity. There's tons of big businesses and big industries and big ideas here. And it doesn't have any of the cost of Silicon Valley, but it's nearby. So I think it's one of the things that I'd like to do while I'm here is be able to help further raise the Las Vegas profile in terms of technology and AI and bring more people here to do this task. And I don't doubt that there is plenty of things to work on, plenty of things for any of you to think about and to work on. So yeah, be in touch, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have now or afterwards. Thanks for having me. Yes.
So we were wondering about the implications of AI on, say, detecting and preventing spam, because most of us, or some of us, get a lot of spam messages in our email box, and I could see AI playing a role where it detects and has figured out who you normally deal with, and so it prevents you from getting the hundreds of spam messages and whatnot, and just general management of how you communicate with people via email. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it's a great question, because it's kind of shifting us as people into this uncomfortable position where this agent that's not human is making decisions. Non-human agents have different priorities, desires, things like that. So it's kind of uncomfortable to think, oh, the computer will do the right thing that a person would or wouldn't do. On the other hand, people also make mistakes. So when you judge a computer, you should also remember what the alternative is. So the implications of it, ultimately it's going to, today anyway, it's going to do as good as the examples you give it. So if you bias it in a certain way to identify specific keywords, for example, which would be a pretty simple application, yeah, okay, it's going to do as good as you told it. But if you are able to give it more general and more varied perspective, like with people, I mean, this is kind of like the whole diversity movement. You want people to meet people of different cultures so that they have a broader worldview. Computer kind of works the same way in that regard. Any other, or did I answer your question? Or? Okay. Yes.
Seems like a much bigger task, to write an algorithm that can figure that out for a general population.
As with everything, it depends on the number of factors that you're trying to take into consideration. It gets complicated when you're trying to incorporate very nuanced information. Like, you might say that because there is a coupon at Costco, therefore that 5-block area is bad to be at on Tuesday at 10. There's only you can only figure that out if you have to have a very discerning algorithm for something like that. But for other things, bigger, like macro things, like the obvious ones, like the weather or accidents, that's obviously simpler. So it really ends up being how much nuance you wanted to incorporate. Does that answer your question?
Jim, you got one? Light it up.
Just a quick comment and a question. If you were following along on Facebook, you will see that it's actually translating everything we say and putting it up as closed caption. So that's AI at work for us getting our message out to the world. And then just a quick question. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and you always see sentient computers. Is that a real possibility that a computer could be so smart as it is aware that it's a computer?
So this question is, I love this question. It's a great question. It's very, if you, I'll answer to you this way. If you believe that humans are their circuitry, the brain is just, signals routed in some very complicated way. I mean, it's kind of amazing. 15 watts, like the size of a steak, what it can do. But if you are a person who believes this is a person, then I don't see any reason why AI couldn't be that or surpass it. At the end of the day, it's just a circuit, right? It's just a circuit that's passing information from one place to another. It evolved to do this. I don't know why not. If you believe that people have, that our consciousness, our intuition, our soul, something like that, comes into consideration into our decision process and into our life, this kind of, ethereal quality beyond what, science usually talks about, then it's a different story. But if you're in the first camp, I don't see why not. I don't think it's very near. I think it's very far from this, but it's certainly, I don't know why not.
Thank you very much. We have an award for you.
Thank you.
In the spirit of full disclosure, before Daniel started his talk, I asked him could he write an algorithm to replace me at the podium. And he said no problem, he would do it. And then I said, well, Sean works twice as hard as I do. Can you write an algorithm to do what Sean does? And he said, no, not possible. Not possible. Well, again, thank you for a wonderful meeting. Go out there, be safe, keep us all with our doors open, and hopefully we will be able to continue meeting in person. The trend of backing off on the openings that's going on in states around us hopefully will not infect our ability to meet. With that, meeting adjourned.